What are your thoughts on that, Arlo?
Yeah, I think that that is very much akin to what Andrea was just talking about, where we're not our thoughts, right? We're not what we perceive either. We are we are in the midst of having that experience, and it is not binary. And so when I talked earlier about meditation as a tool for transcendence, I mean, I'm not talking about like, you know, drifting off, levitating into like spaciousness. I'm suggesting that we can be having a richer, fuller experience in the midst of the noises around us, in the midst of all of the thoughts that are happening. This is the Vipassana meditation that I described, I think, in session 2, where you just literally observe all the thoughts are equal. Good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. They're just a thought. Label it as a thought, let it roll. So that what we're doing is we're breaking the addiction to it. We're breaking the addiction to the distraction. We're breaking the addiction to the thoughts that come up for us. For some of us, for those of us that are real movers and doers, like we're breaking the addiction to having to do, achieve, move, and accomplish. And so all we're trying to do is to create a self-governance that's higher than the self-governance that our mind has, which is largely about control. And, you know, our brain is great, but who wants to be controlled by it? It's a really, you know, wonky tool. So I really love that perspective, is just being aware of what it is that is your addiction or your distraction. And sometimes it's the way we numb out, and sometimes it's the way that we hyper elevate. We hyper respond, or we get reactive to something, right? Like someone that's really prone to anxiety or prone to anger. That's an addictive cycle in the brain. There's stuff happening. And one of for those of you that are curious about kind of the science behind it, I don't know if I mentioned Joe Dispenza to you before, but he's a neuroscientist, neurologist, maybe. I don't know. I think he's a neurologist, actually. Had like a huge life-changing event back in the 80s where, you know, he crashed his bike in a triathlon and got super curious about the power of the mind. But he's done all this work to show the evidence-based research around the neuroplasticity of the brain that gets activated through the tool or the technology of meditation. And so it's kind of just remembering that, you know, we are where we are, and that's cool. And there's something, if we want it, there's something greater. There's a bigger possibility for us that we could potentially, without changing the external, change the amount of suffering we have in our life. And that we have that capability, but that we've got to rewire patterns. So if I have from a childhood standpoint been conditioned to always think I needed to be perfect, be great, overachieve, drive, strive, look like I have it all together. Pretty much, I just told you all about my childhood. But if that was how I've been conditioned, and I've literally lived 50 years of my life, that's just the water I swim in. I don't know differently until I start to feel differently into my experience. Meditation opens this portal of possibility. It allows us to be an observer to that lower self, to that habituated self, so that we could be curious about, oh, like, is this what I really want? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. And what is the part of me that I'm not accessing, that I've turned off or dialed down or truncated or edited because it wasn't okay, it wasn't accepted, I was afraid of it, right? And like just be more and more curious about stepping into the fullness of who we are. And one of the things that I think really happens in Western culture is, and I think it's actually, I don't know, I've never been a man before, but I think it's harder for men, is there's a real expectation that we don't expose these aspects of ourselves, these subtle aspects that we consider soft, right? Like the emotional body of who we are, the subtle energy, the intuition of ourselves. And that we refrain from being still, or we feel like we always need to be driving forward. And, says who? Says who? And maybe, and this is my theory on life. So you could go and research it and someone else would be like, that's a bunch of bunk. But my theory on life really is that we are all a composition of the feminine and the masculine, of the yin and the yang. And that if we can get to where we allow that deeper truth, the essence of who we are, this like whole self, to inform the action of what we do, the doing, the being informs the doing, the being informs the choices. This is where we start living into the magic of our life, because this is alignment. That's alignment. That's real, authentic, juicy, fulfilled, heart-led living. And it just takes something. But first we've got to discover what that is, because most of us, we've lost that. We've never been trained or taught to sit still and get to know ourselves deeply. Like, we're not trained that. If you have children, you know this. Like, no school is teaching your child, and unless you're at some unusual program. No school is teaching your child to do this as one of the most profound mechanisms by which they govern their own life. So we learn to do it when we're middle-aged, which feels really late, but still very useful. So I love all of that. But I think really remembering that at any point we can become a bigger, better version of ourselves. And it's not that we're becoming different. It's not that we're going outside of ourselves and acquiring to pull in. It's that we're learning to unleash what's already there. And that's creativity, that's genius, that's courage, that's brilliant ideas, right? That's relationship competency, where we're willing to show up and be whole and make ourselves more vulnerable, more available to another human, more loving, less afraid of being rejected, all of those things. And just trusting. I had a teacher of meditation that used to just say, trust the process. Just trust the process. And I would be like, I just spent 30 minutes in a meditation and I'm pretty sure every other person blissed out. And I was like in my brain solving for childcare for the next 3 months. Like, I mean, what is wrong with me? And, just trust the process. Just stay in it. Just stay in it. Know that it's happening. Even though your mind's doing all that, you're having a bigger experience in the whole of who you are. Has anyone meditated? Has anyone tried during the course of this of meditating with another human other than our group? How, Andrea, with whom?
With my brother.
Yeah.
And with
you don't have to tell us.
Do tell.
Well, I'll save the other one for later. But no, I have. Every time I meditate and I like commit to this, I find myself like being like this annoying person who's like, you have to meditate, because it's like, it's so simple. But it's just, people find it like very overwhelming if they don't do it. Like just the idea of it. How do I do it? I can't do it. I don't have time to do it. Like everybody has a reason why they are not interested in it. But when you do it, for such a short time, you realize how powerful it could be if you do it. So every time I kind of reconnect with it and commit to one of these things, every person I talk to, I'm like, kind of talking about it and trying to get them to experience it. And everybody, normally has the same kind of things, that they say initially, oh, I couldn't do it, or it took me a while, but then I felt comfortable. So I just try to, introduce as many people to it as possible that I can. And, whether they stay with it or not, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Anyone else? Has anyone done any of this like in a work environment?
Last Monday, I was in my office and saying to myself, I pray to God my coworkers don't think I'm sleeping here at the computer. Yeah, but I was in the office, so I was a little, what's the word? A little nervous, just because I didn't want to get distracted. But fortunately, it was pretty quiet that day, and that last week's session was probably the greatest meditation experience I've had in these 5 sessions.
I've done some time ago, but I've done online mutual collective around different parts of Craig Hamilton. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Craig Hamilton.
No.
At all, yeah. And also the heart math.
Yeah.
With the electronic thing and globally.
Yeah, I love that. For those of you that are, it's a pay it forward. It has like multiple benefits. It's a pay it forward, and it's also an opportunity to increase collective intelligence. But for those of you that are in working environments with other humans, like I just led one today with a client actually, where there was a pretty heady issue at hand and a lot of competing theories around how to solve the issue and a boatload of emotions to accompany those theories. And we started with 10 minutes of meditation, and I just guided them through. You all are now trained to lead 4-4-5 breath, right? You can just lead people through the process. I guarantee you, I think you all know, I ran a B2B building materials manufacturing company for 20 years. I mean, like I was the only female and like hard line, like steel toe boots, the whole thing. And I mean, I would bring my guys in and we would breathe, because they were running and they were fried and they were stressed. And they were stressed for so long that they didn't even know they were stressed anymore. And when they would sit, you could almost see, like, instead of just like taking a seat to rest, there was like a collapse in their energy. And so we would start with breath work, and it's amazing. It's a phenomenal tool to transition. So for those of us that go from thing to thing to thing to thing, so do all your people. And so helping them to transition well, it's also a great way for them to access and harmonize both brain hemispheres. Because that's the other gift that meditation does, is it really, first of all, deactivates what's triggering at the brainstem and gets us into a healthier, it's called the default pathway, the default system in the brain, gets us back into that default system where we can even cross boundaries, right? We have kind of this nimble access to the whole of our intelligence. So I encourage it. And just getting people into the habit of it. Initially, they think you're a weirdo. That's interesting that we live in a society where people think just because they're going to like breathe together well for the purpose of decompressing, that's weird. Like that's a strange testament to the culture we live in. Yeah. But it's very useful as a tool to stimulate performance. And it also makes people's lives a lot better. And you'll hear people start to talk about it. You'll hear people start to talk about the usefulness of that tool just for 5 minutes in a meeting.
Right. So Laura, is that also referred to as the default mode network?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 So let me think about this. So let's do the meditation first. I was going to say maybe we'll end with the meditation, but I want to take you through this. So meditation means like to assemble. It's like the holistic of it all. And what we're going to do is we're going to use, it's typically attributed to Buddhism. It doesn't matter. It's just loving kindness meditation. It's a really lovely way to start internally and then spear out. So if you're ready, I'll just have you kind of like give yourself a little physical wiggle. And then take a deep breath in, throw your arms up overhead, turn your gaze up. And then really lift up through the rib cage, pull your shoulder blades into your spine, pull the pit of the belly up and in, and then hold the breath on the next inhale. When you feel like your body needs to release the air, let the breath go on the exhale, bring your hands down to rest. Muscles in the arms slack, jaw soft. And then drop into your breath. And then use the 4-4-5 breath. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 5. There's a few cycles of that. As you're counting, notice your capacity to expand the breath. Easy on the effort. And then with your inhale, bring the breath right into the heart center. Just notice what happens. How does that feel? And when you exhale, feel your sit bones heavy on the earth, heavy on your seat. Each breath in again, expand, soften the heart center. Exhale invites you into deeper relaxation. And stay with that awareness of expanding the heart, settling into your bones. And begin to notice the space between the inhale and the exhale. Not thinking about it, just observing. How does it feel? What does the body want to do in that space? And then let go of the thinking and the counting around the breath, the thinking around the form of the body. Let's bring yourself into the stillness. And see if you can sense that deepest still point within you. Just breathe into it. Our metta meditation, this loving kindness tribute, starts with this self to self, this inward directed acknowledgement and appreciation. And so repeat after me within your own mind. May I be full of loving kindness. May I be safe. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at ease and happy. Bring into your awareness the faces, the smiles, the names of the people that make your life rich, your friends, your family, those that you love dearly. And directed towards them, repeat after me. May you be full of loving kindness. May you be safe. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at ease and happy. And in the next few breaths, as you breathe in, to see their faces. To breathe out, send that tribute of loving kindness. Then moving one sphere out to all of the people you encounter in your day, your colleagues, the barista at Starbucks, all of the humans that come in and out of the fold of your day. See them for a moment. Be willing to be a space holder for each and every. And then repeat after me on behalf of this group. May you be full of loving kindness. May you be safe. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at ease and happy. And then cast your gaze far and wide to the faces that you will never physically see in this lifetime, to the time that comes before and the time that comes after, to each and every across the globe. Take a moment and drink that in. And then full breath in. Really bring yourself alive. Access your power center. Relaxing breath out. And with your gaze fixed on the gaze of each and every across this globe, may you be full of loving kindness. May you be safe. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at ease and happy. Return the breath, breathing in around the heart center. Lengthening your exhale, making it slower and longer than the inhale. Maybe allowing the exhale to escape through the mouth. Maybe making an audible sigh with the exhale. Allow gratitude to enter your sphere of awareness, either in thought or a wash over you in feeling and experience. I'm grateful deeply for yourself and this gift that you have of presence, this power you have to share it. I'm deeply grateful for those people that make our life worthwhile, that love us unconditionally as we are and as we are not. I'm deeply thankful for all of the people that weave in and out of our lives, for days, for chapters, for events. I'm deeply grateful for the whole of humanity. For the experience that we have within this human condition. I'm grateful for our own presence of mind to support and lift another that we may never know. Nice deep breath in. Reach your arms up overhead again. Turn your gaze up, fire up through the belly. Pull your shoulder blades in. Open your eyes. And then in your exhale, soften your hands down and keep your eyes open.
Wow.
Laura, you're an amazing teacher. You really are.
If I didn't have arms, in my chair, I think 3 times I would have fallen off of it.
Woo. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, that was
at the
interesting.
beginning of that, it felt like you were taking an eraser and just wiping out all of that stuff that's in your head. And I was so focused on just listening to your voice
Uh-huh.
and just following the prompts and then just the breathing took over almost on its own.
Awesome.
It's become that rhythmic, at least with me.
Yeah.
And to Lane's point, I do the same thing. I lie down in bed and just start counting and breathing, and I'm done. It puts me right out and stuff.
That's awesome.
But I just wanted to let you know that before we ended, wrapped up. I mean, this was an amazing experience, and I thank you very much for it.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate that a lot. I really appreciate that. One of I think I've commented on this, but I'll close with this one thought because it feels useful. And in our world today, it's hard to focus. it's hard to like show up for even something like this and not be distracted or, kind of pulled in lots of different directions. And one of the things that this practice can do is it can help you quell that, can kind of help you slay that beast of distraction. And so in moments where you're feeling like, you're getting drawn in, or you're thinking you're multitasking, but we're not really, because we super can't multitask. This can be just 3 minutes of that breath work can really give you the presence for you to have the discipline to stay and be available to the moment and just see what's there and bring your best to it. So how did the metta meditation feel for the rest of you?
I don't think we have an hour to discuss it.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense. A couple quick things. One, when you asked us to see the world, you paused for, it might have been 5 seconds, it might have been 10 seconds, I don't know, but I completely dozed off until you spoke again, where I jolted. I was out. Like literally I was out. So I was like, okay, that felt pretty good. But interesting, when you started speaking and having us envision what you were talking, my kind of blank canvas turned all purple and yellow for about 3 or 4 minutes. Really emphasized those colors. I was like, okay, whatever this means. And I noticed, I just felt I was continually being pulled to my left, where it felt like I was literally facing this way.
Yeah.
Where I had to move myself back to get centered, but
Yeah.
I never really moved off center.
Right. It's so interesting. I love those experiences you're having with your they're like proprioceptic, right? Like, where are you in space? And it's come up for you week over week. I think it's so fascinating.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've been not great with doing it on my own. But what I have found is during the day, when I'm getting to that, like trying to multitask, getting stressed, I'm like, all right, I'm taking like 3 minutes. I don't do it well, but like it just gives me enough time to like kind of refocus a little bit and breathe. But I never get to that level of what we did today. Like I'm gonna fall asleep. Like I was almost out a couple times.
Yeah.
And like laying, I felt like I was gonna lean one way or the other. And so it's been great for me because this is something I've never done before. It's something that obviously I need to work on a lot, just because I haven't fully engaged with the whole process of scheduling it in my day as I should. I tried and just forget about it. Something else came up, and so I got to get better about that. But there's so much that just getting yourself recentered from it for 5-10 minutes a day when you need it has helped me. So thank you for everything.
I'm glad to hear that. And these are recorded, so you can, pop back if there's a week that you like, just pick up the meditation part of it and use that to guide you in your process. I mean, I think we've done it like, 10 to 12 minutes each time. They've been super short, so easy to insert. But I would really reiterate that, Brad, that finding a source that can help to lead it. Sometimes I still use guided meditation sometimes. It's just useful to not have to effort so much and just like turn it all over to a trained facilitator that you feel safe with. So lots of them online. Any of those tools we've talked about in the past are all really good.
Yeah, I played around with a couple of them.
Yeah, good.
I haven't found mine.
Good.
And I'm hoping within the week or so, definitely before September, we'll get these archived on the back end of the site under the V50 Health and Wellness channel. We'll have an intro to mindfulness channel. And Lauren, I'll follow up directly with you if you want to contribute or add any content, any leave behinds for anybody. Obviously, we'll get everybody your contact information directly. And this was fantastic. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's been a real pleasure to be with all of you. And I'm going to pop in the comments for you just in the chat. If you want that script, it's right there for you. And you can use it for your own. There's lots of them out there, by the way. This isn't the only script. This is just a super simple one.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, for sure. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you all for trusting me in this journey of our sessions together. I really appreciated that a lot.
Well,
Thank you.
I don't think this will be the last. So
Thank you.
everybody, great seeing everyone. Happy Monday.
Thanks.
Take care, everyone.
Well,
See everybody during the week. Take
Bye.
care.
Thanks so much, Laura.